GBETV. Yes, sir!
Welcome to the Sharmin Prince Show on GBETV, where we know that progress is a must. And I'm your host, Sharmin Prince. Now, this show is about empowerment, bringing you information, enlightenment, and most of all, to bring transformation to you, your community, and the entire country. Now, today's topic is about the journey of life. And I'm sure some of you may be wondering, who is Miss Sharmin, right? So I'll share with you a part of my journey. And just to let you know that one of my best qualities is that I'm honest, and I can only share my truth with you. So I'm going to share whatever it is that I feel like sharing with you while we talk about the journey of life. It don't matter where you start, you know. In the midst of the race, you can devise a plan to ensure that you finish well. But we will get into that. If you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday. May you live to see many more. If you're celebrating an anniversary, happy anniversary. I'd like to say congratulations to the graduates of the University of Guyana. Ensure that you use those degrees well to enhance your community and educate those, whatever course or major you choose. Ensure that you're utilizing it, because our country needs you. If you lost a loved one last week, our condolences on behalf of the Sharmin Prince Show and GBETV. We would like to share our condolence to you and your family. And remember that grieving is a process, and not everyone grieves the same way. I'd like to also congratulate our Social Protection Minister, Ms. Amna Ali, for the Sexual Offense Act and the Domestic Violence Act that was announced last week. Those two social problems are high on my list of priorities to address. So congratulations, Social Protection Minister, and looking forward to working with you on those two acts. Now remember that we have a raffle. Thanks to those of you that sent your names and your telephone number in. We've received it. Now the raffle would be drawn on Christmas Day on the show, and the winner would be announced. All you need to do to enter the raffle is to send us your name and your telephone number. Send us via email at gbetvinfo@gmail.com. Send us your name and your telephone number via gbetvinfo@gmail.com. Encourage your friends, encourage your relatives to listen to the show and actually enter to win. We may have a second prize that is going to be announced, so just enter to win the first prize, the Smart TV. In I think February, for Valentine, we'll have another raffle, and that would be a microwave and something else. Also, for the Christmas, we may add a bottle of white Hennessy. So enter to win the television. There might be a second prize, but Right now it's a television and a bottle of white Hennessy. We are actually raffling. So again, your name, your telephone number, and you send it to GBETV info, that's INFO @gmail.com. Again, GBETV info @gmail.com. And you're entering to win a bottle of white Hennessy or a smart TV, and we may be adding a third prize. You send that email and the raffle would be drawn on the show on Christmas Day. Now I hope that you enjoyed last week's shows with Attorney Rhonda Binder and you walked away with something. I hope Malachi is viewing the show right now. Malachi, your mom shared with me that you actually call her and tell her that Miss Sharmin is on the show. I hope to meet you whenever I come to Guyana, sometime soon or in the new year, for you to be encouraging your mother to look at the show. I want to thank you, Malachi, and I will definitely be meeting with you sometime in the near future. As I said earlier, our topic today is the journey of life. And the question I have for you, do you think that life is a journey? And how do you define the journey that you're on? And when you think about a journey, what comes to mind? A beginning and an end, right? We all know that a journey has a beginning and an end. It's like a trip. And you have a starting point and you have an ending point. And there is so much that can happen between those 2 points. You start and here is the end, but what happens between that? Would you allow yourself to finish how you started, or do you create a change of plan during the process to get to the end? It all depends on you. It all depends on me, and it all depends on us, how we create that journey. Now, when we come back, I will get into the discussion. And I promise you that some stuff that I'm going to share, you might cringe, but that's just who I am. So, we will go to the greetings, and when we come back, we'll continue this discussion.
Great.
Diana sending shout out all the way from Brooklyn to Guyana.
Brooklyn Massive sending
Greetings to Georgetown, Guyana.
happy birthday, Uncle Wayne.
Those were the greetings and welcome back. I'm your host, Sharmin Prince, and now these are the names of some of the people that already submitted their entry into the raffle, and I want to thank you guys. It's obvious that you're viewing the show. Otis Elias, Barbara Knights, Chelsea Passad, Bibi Shaniza Hamad, Tamara Fifi, Uburn Collins, and Purnima Passad. Those are a few of the people that entered the raffle. So continue to send in your name, because I'm sure that by Christmas we'll have 3 prizes. Now we have 2. I'm sure we're gonna add a third, something for maybe an adolescent or a child, some educational stuff that you can give to your child. The Hennessy is just something we just decided we are gonna do. So yes, to enter the raffle that is gonna be drawn Christmas Day, send us your name, your number to gbetvinfo@gmail.com, gbetvinfo@gmail.com. We'll do this again in February for Valentine's Day. You can also send us an email if there is an activity or an event in Guyana during the Valentine's holiday or during Valentine's Day, that maybe we can have purchase 2 tickets and actually raffle them on the show. So if you have any suggestions, you can send it to us at gbetvinfo@gmail.com. Now, our topic, of course, is the journey of life. Now, the journey of life begin at conception. We have no control over that. Absolutely no control over the beginning of our journey. We're not a part of the planning committee. We don't have any input. We cannot make a decision. We have no role in the beginning of our journey. We don't choose our parents. We don't choose how we're conceived. We don't choose nothing about that. So we have no control over that. So we just have to embrace the beginning of our journey. We have to love who our parents are. Despite they might not be the best thing that happened to us, but that's how it was chosen, that's how it was ordained, that's how it was created. So we have no control over that. That's who our parents were supposed to be. Who our siblings are, it's who they were supposed to be. They're a part of our journey that we have no control over. And while preparing for this show, I'm like, some of us starts at a disadvantage, begin the journey at a disadvantage. Because the parents that were chosen for us were not the ideal. You might be a product of a rape. That was how your journey was supposed to begin. You can debate for how long, or you can have your arguments to solidify that is unfair. That argument is accepted, but we can't change that. We can't change how the journey began, right? You can't change that your parents were never married. You can't change that you're a product of a one-night stand. You can't change that your mother was whomever she is or was. There is nothing about the beginning of our journeys that we can change. Absolutely nothing. And as difficult as it is to accept, it is the first step for us to enter into our purpose. Some people may say to me, and I had this said to me, that how could God, the universe, the creator, the Father, whatever you want to call it, whatever you name it, how could He allow me to be born in this family? Or how could He allow the circumstances in which I was conceived to occur? It occurred. It's all about us accepting that. As much as it's difficult, as much as it is painful because of the experiences you may have had with your parents, it's okay. You're here. Make the best out of your existence here. For me, I can say for the first maybe 10 years of your life, you have an element of control of what can happen, a very slim volume of control, because you're under the protection of adults. If the adults are negligent, you suffer. If they're immature, you suffer. If they're not what they're supposed to be, you suffer. If they're not where they're supposed to be, you suffer. And you may be asking yourself, well, Sharmin, with all of that happen, you still expect me to embrace my journey and the process? My answer to you is yes. Because you have no control over that. If you don't have any control, you're not responsible. So the things that happen to you from birth to maybe age 15, that's when some of us find our voices, or age 12, you had no control. The person that hurt you as a child, you have no control over that. What you have control right now is how you handle that. We'll get to that. But you have no control over the things that happened to you as a child. The trauma, the pain, the neglect, the abandonment, the suffering, whatever it was, you had no control over that. And I'm emphasizing that for a reason, because a lot of us are stuck because of the things that we have had no control over. A lot of us are standing on quicksand, and it has our lives have the quicksand effect because of the things that happened during the period when we had no control. And that's one of the hardest thing for us to grapple with. But let's go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation.
Next Gen Car Rentals. For reliable, clean, fuel-efficient and well-maintained cars, choose Next Gen Car Rentals. Telephone 231-8963 or like us on Facebook. Next Gen Car Rentals, taking you to the next level.
GBETV. Yes, sir!
Welcome back to the Sharmin Prince Show. Now, before we went to the commercial break, we were talking about, the journey, and we have no control of the beginning of our journey and where the journey begins. There are injuries that happen at the beginning of the journey that affects us all the way to the end if we don't deal with it. And it's listen to me carefully, look me in the eyes. It's very important for us to deal with the things that happen at the beginning of the journey, the first 10, 12 years of our lives, when we had no control. Because you know what? It shaped the way we process. It shaped the way we analyze. It creates the lens that we view the world. It creates a certain mindset. And all those things shape and fashions who we are today. Now, I was talking to someone today and they said to me, so you're telling me that I must go back and experience the pain and the suffering that I endured at age 5 or 6. And I said, yes. And the person said, I can't. And I give them this example. You can't because you don't want to. You can't because it's not important. Or you can't because you're afraid. You make that determination. But however, this thing, that little girl, in the example that I give to you, that 5, whatever happened at that stage, it's a wall that is standing between, that is erected between you and your purpose and your destiny. You have to determine what are you going to do with that thing that is hindering you from walking into your purpose towards your destiny. You can decide if you want to go around the wall. The choice is yours. But if you go around the wall, every time you look back, you're reminded of that thing, because the wall will still be erected. You can stay in the position that you're in and refuse to cross the wall or go around it. The choice is still yours. Or you can stand right where you are right now from your vantage point and look at that wall and create a plan on how you're going to demolish it. And then plan your process of the demolition. How are you going to attack that wall? Are you going to hit it from the root and relive the experience, endure the pain once and for all? Or you're going to allow it to hinder you from being who you were created to be and walking and living on purpose and achieving your destiny? When you get to the finish line, you get a trophy. And you can say that you're satisfied. The choice is yours. Now, sometimes some of us, like me, let me use an example. I've had so many traumatic experiences that the walls were so thick. But I had to make that decision that there is something beyond the wall that I need to explore. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't have a mentor that can walk me through the process, or I didn't have a mentor that can say to me, make these steps to get through your journey, or make these steps to get around the wall. These are things that I experience, and while I'm experiencing it, I am present. And I guess because, you know, God, the universe, knew that I would have had this platform and be able to share that with you. But our journeys and those walls, it's like you're running a marathon, right? You have to prepare for the marathon. I can't just decide that I'm going to go run a marathon. You have to train. You have to eat a certain way. You have to ensure that you have endurance to finish the marathon. That's like life. And there are different points of that marathon that you can decide that you're going to stop. But what are some of the things that can hinder you from completing the marathon, completing the race? 1, injuries. There's so many injuries that we experience during the first 10 to 12 years of our lives. Those injuries can be life-threatening if we allow it to be. The choice is yours. You can allow those things to become your hindrance. And it can become life-threatening that it hinders you from finishing the race the way you were created to finish the race. Right? You maybe would have been a gold medalist, but because of the injuries, you don't finish the race. Or you finish with a bronze or a silver. I believe, and this is from personal experience, that after you begin to control your life, or you begin to take control of your life, those years where you didn't have control impedes on your decision making to take control. Because if in those early years you were exposed to a lot of abuse, it may not have been personally, but it might have been vicarious trauma. You've made decision, and what is vicarious trauma, you may ask? Vicarious trauma is the trauma that you experienced, but you were not involved. You didn't experience it personally. You witnessed your mother or your sister being abused, be it sexually, be it physically, or a neighbor. Vicarious trauma can also cause PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But when we come back, we need to get some steps on how we're going to destroy the wall so we can walk in our purpose and fulfill our destinies. Let's take a commercial break.
GBETV. Yes, sir!
Next Gen Car Rentals. For reliable, clean, fuel-efficient and well-maintained cars, choose Next Gen Car Rentals. Telephone 231-8963 or like us on Facebook. Next Gen Car Rentals, taking you to the next level.
Welcome back to the Sharmin Prince Show, and I'm your host, Sharmin Prince. Now, before we went to the commercial break, we had this lengthy discussion. I hope you're learning something. And sometimes if I don't have a guest, or even if I have a guest, you should get a notebook and a pen, because you will be, receiving some nuggets that you can write and really apply it to your life. Now, what is the wall that is standing between you and your purpose or your destiny? Is it trauma? Is it neglect? Is it pain? What is it? Can you identify what is that thing that is hindering you from being your best self? What is that thing that is standing between you and your authenticity? What is that thing or things that is standing between you and your purpose? What is that thing or things that is standing between you and your destiny? Can you identify it? And you may say, some people that might be watching may say, I have nothing that is standing between me and my purpose, my destiny, my best self, my authentic self. If you're one of those people, I guess that you have journeyed around the walls, over the walls, under the walls, you've demolished the walls. But this is for the people that haven't. What do you think is preventing you from accomplishing some of the goals that you dreamed of? Is it fear? Is it fear of what was told to you as a child? Like, you know, I was talking to someone and their mother told them that they would never amount to anything. And even as a 50-something-year-old person, this person still feels that they can't amount to anything because of what was told to them as a child, 5, 6, 7 years old. I'm going to take a side note here. If you're a parent, you have to be careful what you're saying to your kids, because this person's mother told them that as a young child. And here, an adult, a parent, a grandparent, and it's still being held captive by the things that were so told to them as a child. So is it that you're not being your best self because of what was told to you? Now we have control. Now that you're an adult, you have control. And even if you're an adolescent and you're watching this show, you have some control where you can decide today that the things that occurred that are behind me do not have to hinder me or be a hindrance to me achieving what is before me. Because right now, I'm going to make a decision to deal with that stuff behind me right now, and I'm going to embrace it despite the shame, despite the guilt, despite the labels that has been placed on me. I will not allow it to affect what I have to do tomorrow and in the future. Now, how can I do that? That's your question, right? The first thing that you need to do is embrace that it happened. It happened, so what? It happened before, and it will happen after. But I'm ashamed to tell anyone. Why are you ashamed? Are you ashamed because whatever happened, whoever did it told you that it was your fault? It's not your fault. Especially in those years, early years, when you were under the supervision of your parents, it wasn't your fault. So you don't have to live with the guilt and the shame. You don't have to. Find someone that you trust and you can speak to. I like to listen, so you know I'm available. But no, seriously, find someone that you can speak to. I said I would have shared a part of my journey. Now, I could have allowed my life experiences that occurred when I had no control, when I was under the supervision of parents. I could have allowed that to continue to hinder me. And I'm going to tell you that this journey is not an easy journey, because when you demolish the first wall and you think that you're in the clear and you cross it and you start walking, you just find other walls, other things that are standing there. And because you had the first experience in demolishing the first wall, it becomes easier. But it's painful because you have to relive certain experiences, and it's okay. Once you commit to it, you can have it, it's going to be done. And as more walls, as you see more stuff, as more of your life experiences and the effects of your life experiences surfaces, you would be able to deal with them. But the very first thing is accept that this thing happened. I know it's hard. It happened. And you just have to forgive. You have to live a life of forgiveness and gratitude. I usually tell my friends that I would not change anything that happened in my life. And some of you that are looking right now, you understand what I'm saying. But I wouldn't change anything, because I believe that it helped me to be who I am. And it helped me to take the journey and understand the journey so that I can help others. So I wouldn't change anything. But embracing those experiences, it's not easy. Because a lot of us repress, especially trauma. We pushed it down, we believe it never happened. Whenever something occurs and we get a flashback, we suppress it. I want to tell you today that you're not 100% you because you haven't embraced those experiences. They happen. It's your truth. My truth includes a lot of trauma. But I don't live in that traumatic space. And I want to encourage you not to live in that space. Let's take a commercial break.
Next Gen Car Rentals. For reliable, clean, fuel-efficient and well-maintained cars, choose Next Gen Car Rentals. Telephone 231-8963 or like us on Facebook. Next Gen Car Rentals, taking you to the next level.
GBETV. Yes, sir!
Welcome back to the Sharmin Prince Show on GBETV, where we know that progress is a must. Remember that we have a Christmas raffle, and you have the opportunity to win a smart television, a bottle of white Hennessy, and a third gift. We'll announce it as we progress, as time progresses. And all you need to do to enter the raffle is to send your name and your telephone number to GBETVinfo@gmail.com. GBETVinfo@gmail.com. So we were talking about the journey and the experiences that occurred, or our life experiences during the time when we had no control. That period when things happen that shaped our mindset, that cause us to act, be, think the way we do today. And I explained about the walls, the barriers that are affecting you from walking into your purpose and your destiny and just finding your authentic self. Those things, or those walls, were erected because of the experiences that is behind us. Are you going to continue to allow that? How are we going to tear down those walls? How are we going to get over? And now that we have control, what are we going to take control of? Now, I've been reading, all these notes I wrote. I need to give you me and all of my authenticity, so I'm going to throw the paper aside and I'm going to talk to you from my heart. I hope you want that, because it's more pure and more real. So how do I get rid of the stuff that is behind me? Or how do I overcome that right now in my present condition, whatever that condition is? How do I bring that in my life right now and cause it to fit? How do I bring the pain from childhood, the trauma from childhood, the neglect, all the stuff that is there that I refuse to deal with because I didn't know how? How do I fit that into my current situation, my current space, so that I can take it with me into the future? Take it not as an impediment, take it not as a hindrance, because once I accept that this is who I am, even if it's linked with shame and guilt, it's still who I am. It's a part of my truth. There are parts of my truth that I wish that I didn't have to actually embrace. There is part of my truth that I never wanted anyone to know about. But after beginning the journey and realizing that that's my truth, and in order for me to move forward and walk into my purpose and embrace who I am and discover my authenticity, I have to embrace the truth with all its pain, with all the guilt, with all the shame, the degradation, whatever is attached to your truth, you have to embrace it. And the only way for us to embrace those truths is to accept that it happened. Relive the moment. Forgive whomever, whatever, however. And move on. You can control what you do with those experiences today and how you take it with you into the future. There are some experiences that as much as it's painful and you view it as bad and some of your worst experiences, if you embrace it, you can use it for your good. You can prevent another person from experiencing those or help them to journey through it. It all depends on you. And it's not impossible, but it's painful. So you have a choice on what you can do with your experiences. The important thing for you to acknowledge is that those experiences have created who you are today. And you can decide if you want to continue with the effects of those experiences. When you're like, you might be saying, because I hear this often, I've been living my life without dealing with that and I live a good life. But is that really true? Are you being honest? Are you really being honest that your life is good and not dealing with the stuff from that is behind you doesn't affect you? I can go into so many, I can list a number of things to show you that your experiences affects you. The way you think, the way you perceive others, the way you view the world, the decisions that you make, how you problem solve, how your interpersonal relationships with people. All of those are signs of your experiences, where you are today in life. Your dreams, have they been fulfilled? Are you able to accomplish the goals that you set? And if not, why? Let me say this to you. Unless you have done some work pertaining to your past experiences, they still affect you. So let's go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we will continue this discussion.
GBETV. Yes, sir!
Next Gen Car Rentals. For reliable, clean, fuel-efficient and well-maintained cars, choose Next Gen Car Rentals. Telephone 231-8963 or like us on Facebook. Next Gen Car Rentals, taking you to the next level.
Welcome back to the Sharmin Prince Show on GBETV, where we know that progress is a must. And I'm your host, Sharmin Prince. Now, we've had a lengthy discussion about the journey of life and the things that we've experienced and how those things that are behind us affects us today. But what do we do with those things, and how do we get rid of them? And is there such a thing as getting rid of them? No. People like to say, leave your past where it is. You can't leave it where it is when you're carrying it. And you have to acknowledge that you're taking it, it's there with you and you're carrying it. Now, when you acknowledge that you're carrying it, you take control over it. And you can decide how you take it into your future. But if you don't acknowledge it, you're taking it with you, and it's like you're carrying a backpack that you're not even aware of. And if we think about it literally, if you're carrying a backpack that is loaded all the time, what is happening to you? You become like the hunchback of Notre Dame. So you're taking it with you and it's destroying your spine. It's disfiguring your spine. Your posture has been affected. So decide if you're going to continue to take it with you, or you're going to manage it. You accept it, you embrace it, and you manage it. And how do you manage your past? After you've acknowledged it and you've embraced it, you don't feel the same emotions that are attached to it from the beginning. And the more you deal with it, the more you talk about it, the easier it gets. Now you don't have to stay where you are, where you began. The race started, you're running a 80 meters dash, and it has a starting point. You can decide when you hear on your marks, get set, and when you hear the gun or the clap and it's time to run, you can decide if you want to run or if you're going to stand up, if you're going to walk, if you're going to crawl. The decision is yours. You don't have to remain at the starting point. You could plan how you finish the race. So you can decide for this leg of the race, I'm really gonna walk. Because as I walk, I'm gonna take off the stuff take out the stuff in my backpack. Let's take a break. Thank you.
Next Gen Car Rentals. For reliable, clean, fuel-efficient and well-maintained cars, choose Next Gen Car Rentals. Telephone 231-8963 or like us on Facebook. Next Gen Car Rentals, taking you to the next level.
GBETV. Yes, sir!
Welcome back to the Sharmin Prince Show. On GBETV, where we know that progress is a must. And I'm your host, Sharmin Prince. Now, we had a lengthy discussion about the journey of life. I highlighted quite a few things. I give you an exercise. If you are enjoying the show, learning something about the show, or learning something from the show, be sure to share it with your friends and relatives. And don't keep it to yourself. Or share something that you learned. Share a nugget of truth that you got from the show with someone, and then tell them where you learn about it. Remember, you don't have to remain where you started. Your pain and all the trauma and other things that happen in your life, the life experiences when you had no control over your life, you can use that as a motivator. Use it to propel you into your purpose, to hit down those walls, you know. Use it as a motivator, as I did. Some of you that are watching might be like, look at Sharmin, because you know, a lot of times we count people out. Invite someone, tell someone, have a show party, where you just invite a few friends over and after the show you guys discuss it. Remember our Christmas raffle? Those names that I called on the show, you do not have to re-enter. Your names are already here. We just call those names to let you know that we received them. So you don't have to re-enter to win. But we have as the first prize a smart TV, and the raffle will be drawn on Christmas Day on the show. So you have the option to win a smart TV, also a bottle of white Hennessy, and we'll be adding a third prize. So send your name and your number to GBETV info@gmail.com. GBETV info@gmail.com. Again, GBETV info@gmail.com. And remember, if you're submitting your name and your telephone number, the name that you're submitting must match the name on your ID card or whatever ID you have. So you know us in our Guyanese people, you name Paul Jones, but everyone know you as Paul Thomas. So your ID has Paul Jones, but because you're so used to Paul Thomas, you submit Paul Thomas, but your ID must match the name that has been submitted. And again, your name and your number to GBETV info@gmail.com. GBETV info@gmail.com. Thanks to those of you that sent me messages on Facebook telling me how you're enjoying the show and how informative it is. Thank you. If you have any feedback for the show, you can send it to GBETV info@gmail.com. GBETV info@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your continued support. We can't do this without you, and I just can't wait to meet all of you and to get your feedback. We really want your feedback. On behalf of GBETV and the Sharmin Prince Show, I would like to thank you for your continued support. See you next week. Good night.